FM 88.1 WHPR, Highland Park.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone do we serve and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is our true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Brother Muta Kabir from New Jersey. We have Brother Mustafa and Sister Sharice Ali from Ohio. We have Brother Paul from Buffalo, New York. And we have the Rafiq family. Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Today, we want to start with the July 28, 1956 Pittsburgh Carrier, and the title is, Who is the Original Man? And we want to continue with our subject from last week talking about aboriginal. And this right here is a part of the lessons. Just to continue to stress that point, this is the student enrollment, because brothers are saying that the messenger didn't give the lessons to the lost founds. But this right here is a part of the student enrollment. And the messenger will use titles of the questions in the student enrollment and in the lessons and elaborate on it in his articles. So this right here is a lesson that the messenger elaborating on for the lost founds. So the messenger says, he says the original man Allah has declared is none other than the black man, the first and last maker and owner of the universe. From him came all, brown, yellow, red, and white. By using a special method of birth control law, he was able to produce the right race. Then the messenger goes on to say, we find that history teaches that the earth was populated by the black nation ever since it was created. But the history of the white race doesn't take us beyond 6,000 years. Now, I took classes when I was in college courses. And I took a geology course. Not thinking, nothing of it. I just took the course because I needed some credits. I didn't even really want to take this class, but I needed some credits. This was the last class that they had open, so I took it. So in this class, because one thing I noticed when I was in college, the messenger's teachings is everywhere. You'll be surprised, you'll be sitting in the class and they will bear witness to what the messenger said without even, without you even know, like, dang, the messenger said, you know what I mean? So in this class, we came to the section, and this is the geology book we used. And we came to the section called Early Concepts of Geology, Time, and Earth's Age. It says one of the most influential and famous Christian scholars was James Ussher. It's Archbishop of Armagh, Ireland, who based upon Old Testament geology asserted that God created Earth on Sunday, October 23rd, 4004 BC. In 1701, An authorized version of the Bible made this date accepted church doctrine. For nearly a century thereafter, it was considered heresy to assume that the earth and all of its features was more than about 6,000 years old. I was like, dang. And it was right here in our geology book. And I'm sitting in the class like, dang, that's what the messenger said. White race can't go beyond 6,000 years. All praise due to Allah. So the devils the scholars who was interpreting the Bible felt like this ain't no older than 6,000 years because they can't go back no further than that. So before the messenger came on the scene and started teaching the history of the earth, they was believing that 6,000 years is, this is how long the earth been here, 6,000 years. So we want to look at this aboriginal thing and how the Bible talked about the aboriginal black man, because the messenger references Genesis 1:26 in this original man article, because this always told us who the aboriginal people was and who the devil was, but we never knew before we followed the teachings of the messenger, and it's right in our face. This comes from Genesis 1:26. It said, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. It says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, man and female created he them. So in this, it says, let us make man. Yes, sir. It ain't say I. It say us. Right. These are the original people. That's right. All praise due to Allah. Right. These are the aboriginal people who was already on the earth before they decided, let us make man. Right. So it was always in the Bible. But because they add and put enough spookism in it, we didn't even recognize the us, and it's right there in our face. Right. Going to church all them years, listening to them talk about let us make man in our own image. We never thought that that's talking about black people. Right. And even today, black people still don't recognize the fact that this talking about the black man. Right. And that we the aboriginal people. Right. Because even when you look up or Google the location of Eden, they say the location of Eden is in Iraq, in Arabia. That's where the location of Eden is. So when we talk about aboriginal to Arabia, the black man is the aboriginal Arab of Arabia. That's right. It all fit in when you know or you study the messenger teachings. It all praises to Allah. And I remember once when we was in class, I used to, after time I'm seeing all this stuff in what we were being taught of the messenger's teachings. So when I would be in class and we would get into arguments, I would always drop the messenger on. When the teacher would be talking crazy, like when we would have these group class discussions. So one day, the teacher, I had to pick up my test after class. And she was like, where do you get all of that stuff that you say? She was like, sometimes you say stuff and I don't even know what to say. I was like, wow. I was like, wow, for real? Because I would notice after that, sometimes she would see me and call on somebody else. Because she'll see me and point to somebody else because she didn't want to deal with, because when you are in school and you study the messenger's teachings, it's there. Right. In any class, geology, math, social sciences, anything, the messenger's teachings is there. Right. And you can tell when you studying the teachings how the teachers be trying to teach that devil stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when you raise your hand and say something about the messenger, they're like, oh, okay, that's another point. You know what I'm saying? But they don't never want to deal with what the messenger said. Right. So in this article, or in this Bible verse, is telling us who the aboriginal people are. And that's us. Then it goes even further in Genesis 6. It says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. It says, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all which they chose. We don't even see there. It's two different people that it's talking about right here. Two different people. It said, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and they had daughters. Then it's talking about the sons of God. Saw the daughters. Saw the daughters of these men. Now, if the God was a spook, and angels were spooky, how could they see these daughters of men and take them as wives? How you living with a spook, and you married to a spook, and you ain't a spook? We ain't never think about that. And it's right in our face. So when it talks about the men, that's talking about the made man that in Genesis 1 said, let us make man. That's what the men is in this chapter. And the sons of God is the original people. All praise due to Allah. And this is what the messenger taught in the Pittsburgh Carrier in 1956. The messenger tell it. But brothers like to take the credit from the messenger and put it on themselves. Say the messenger, you know, he wasn't giving the lost founds a lesson. And the reason why they could get away with that so well in this generation is because when the messenger passed away, I was watching a video. This sister was talking about, she was at the, wherever Wallace was when he was taking over. And he told them sisters they didn't have to wear their headpiece. She said sisters was throwing their headpieces away. They was throwing the tapes away, the albums, like all of the stuff that the messenger had. They was like, forget that. You know what I'm saying? So all of the actual documented facts and history of the messenger for a long time was gone.
Right, that's right.
These Pittsburgh Carriers, the only way you get them is if you want to research and go look for them yourself. Like these Pittsburgh Carriers ain't just like they out. You know what I'm saying? So brothers can say, you know, messenger ain't teach the lesson. Where the Pittsburgh Carriers at? This was in the 50s. The 50s. Because the thing about it is, I don't know how to go back further to the 40s and find the documents that the messenger was writing in. So we can only start with the Pittsburgh Carrier. That's what we know now, because that's as far as we can use Google to get on newspaper.com to get Pittsburgh Carrier. Because they don't even have all the other black newspapers that the messenger used to write in. But the messenger used to teach the lessons in the Pittsburgh Carrier in the 50s. And this, just to give an example, give some examples. This right here is the August 18, 1956 Pittsburgh Carrier. The title of the article is there a mystery God? That's a lesson.
That's right.
It says, and he starts off the paragraph saying, who is that mystery God? That's a lesson.
Yes, that's right.
It's a lesson. It's lesson number 2, question and answer number 10. And in that answer, he says, there is no mystery God. The Son of Man has searched for that mystery God for trillions of years and was unable to find a mystery God. So they have agreed that the only God is the Son of Man. So they lose no time searching for that does not exist. This was for the Muslims.
Yeah. Right.
Because this is not the whole complete understanding of who is that mystery God. This just a little bit of something for Muslims.
Right.
But the lost found who ain't Muslims. The lost found who this could have been their first Pittsburgh Carrier they done got. The messenger ain't gonna just give them that little short thing and just say who is that mystery God and then just put that short little sentence and then that's it. He explaining it to the lost found.
Right.
Because this could be their first time ever getting the Pittsburgh Carrier. So he explains who is that mystery God.
That's right. That's right.
In depth.
That's right.
See, the messenger. He the messenger. He decide how he going to teach the black man.
That's right.
Because the messenger said that Allah gave all of us to him. That's what he said.
That's right.
Said all of y'all.
Right.
All praise due to Allah. That's what he said.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Allah didn't just come for one. He said he didn't want to lose not one.
That's right.
So the way the messenger decided to teach us, he the messenger.
That's right.
And we can go even further than that. We can go to the August 4th, 1956 Pittsburgh Carrier. And this title was called, If the Civilized Man Fails to Perform His Duty, What Must Be Done? Once again, it's a lesson. This one comes from lesson number 2, question number 19. And it says, if a civilized person does not perform his duty, what must be done? It says, if a civilized person does not perform his duty, which is teaching civilization to others, they should be punished with a severe punishment. And it has in quotations Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18, and it has St. Luke chapter 12, verse 47. So that was the question that the messenger titled the article. Now when he starts off the article, he says the civilized man, his duty is to teach civilization to the uncivilized, the arts and sciences of civilized people and countries of advanced civilization. Now what's that? That's another lesson. That's another question in the lessons.
That's right.
And that question is lesson number 2, question number 18. It says, what is the duty of a civilized person? And the answer is to teach the uncivilized people who are savage civilization, righteousness, the knowledge of himself, the science of everything in life, love, peace, and happiness.
That's it. That's right.
So in here he said the civilized man, his duty is to teach civilization to the uncivilized, the arts, sciences of civilized people and countries of advanced civilization. So what didn't he give to the lost found? But see, this is what these brothers don't want, because when they took them lessons out of the temple, they didn't take the messenger's commentary.
Right.
Because when the messenger gave out the lessons, he gave commentary too. He didn't just give these questions and answers and just, hey, whatever you want to come up with. So this is what the messenger says after he gives us the definition of the civilized man. He said, a divine messenger of God, Allah, raised among his people with the divine message, is held responsible for its delivery.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you take the lessons out the temple, because you saying, I just want them to know it, I think they should know it, are you telling them that the messenger is responsible for the delivery of the message? You telling them that? Or you leaving that part out? You know, because that's what the messenger telling the lost founds when he teaching them.
Right.
He letting them know this is what a civilized man is. Right. This is the definition. But the messenger is responsible for the delivery of the message.
That's right.
It ain't you.
That's right.
It ain't none of my followers.
That's right.
It ain't none of these ministers.
That's right.
The messenger is responsible for the delivery of the message.
That's right.
Then the messenger goes on to say, he says his message teaches spiritual civilization, which is important to the success of a nation and society. He says, according to history, the people who refuse to accept divine guidance or his message sent by his messengers are classified as uncivilized or savage.
That's right. Yes, sir.
So the messenger telling you who the civilized man is.
Right.
He giving you the definition. But he also telling you who ain't civilized.
That's right.
That's the part they keep out.
Right.
Because he said if you don't accept divine guidance, those people are classified as uncivilized or savage.
That's right. That's right.
His divine guidance said for registered Muslim only. See, brothers get mad at you for what you say. Hey, this is what the messenger said. This is what he said. Praise through to Allah.
That's right.
And if all you want to do is let the lost files get the lessons, this the lessons. It's the lessons too. Because during the time of the messenger, it wasn't the lessons. It was the messenger's teachings.
That's right.
That's what it was. Wasn't these the lessons.
Right.
No, it's the messenger's teachings. All of it was the lessons.
That's right.
That's what it was during the time of the messenger. Because Master Farad Muhammad, the God of this world, the one who taught the message, he didn't just give lessons. He also gave instructions
That's right.
to them lessons.
That's right.
He didn't just give the Muslims lessons, just say, hey, you just study these. No, he gave instructions
That's right.
on these lessons. Just like with anything. If you make a thing, you got to give instructions. Because you made it. If I'm working on a car, I need the owner's manual. I didn't make this engine.
That's right.
I don't know whether to put diesel fuel in it or unleaded. How I know? How I know what's the difference between unleaded and diesel? I don't know that. But the manufacturer know.
That's right.
So in the owner's manual, and even when you open up the gas tank, it tell you unleaded. Because diesel and unleaded fuel is different. They burn different. Who know that? But the manufacturer know that.
That's right.
So they give you instructions to everything you can buy. It's instructions. Master Farad Muhammad gave instructions. Let's see what them instructions say. This is instructions given to the laborers by our Savior, W.D. Farad Muhammad. It says the student must study his assignment, lesson number 1. It says each student should copy the answers of lesson of Minister Elijah Muhammad and study until the student is able to memorize by heart all answers to said lesson number 1.
That's right.
It said you must study.
That's right.
That's a must.
Right.
All Muslims, you must study.
Right.
But then it says each student should copy the answers of the lessons of Elijah Muhammad and study until. How long is until? Until could be 50 years. That's what until could be. Who said how long?
Right.
Said until.
Right.
It ain't had no time limit on you to say, well, if I give it to you in a week, you need to know it by a week. It says study until you memorize it and know it by heart. And it says, why is stress made to Muslims to copy the Minister Elijah Muhammad's answers? Why we got to copy the messenger's answers? What's the purpose of that? Why did Master Farad Muhammad ask the messenger's questions? Why did we have to even know what the messenger's responses to these questions was? Because this could have been something between the messenger and Master Farad Muhammad. He could have been just seeing where the messenger at. So let me ask you some questions. You give me the answers, and it's just between us. But Master Farad Muhammad, because this is his wisdom. This is where we get confused. This Master Farad Muhammad's wisdom.
That's right.
Because what these brothers like to say, they like to say this information been here all the time. No, this ain't just Master Farad Muhammad's wisdom. We the original man. We the God. So this wisdom been here all the time. It's a lie. This wisdom ain't been here all the time. This Master Farad Muhammad's wisdom. All praise due to Allah. Because 6,000 years ago, Yaqub made a problem. He made a problem that was going to be solved in 6,000 years.
That's right.
Only one person had the wisdom to solve this problem.
That's right.
Only one.
That's right.
This wisdom ain't been here all the time. Only Master Farad Muhammad got the wisdom to solve Yaqub's problem.
That's right.
And Yaqub told you that in the lessons.
Right.
These same lessons we quoting, most of it is about Yaqub.
Uh-huh.
Talking about how he grafted the devil and all that. But let's go on to what Master Farad Muhammad said. He said, why is stress made to the Muslims to copy the Minister Elijah Muhammad's answers? He says the past history shows that the Almighty Allah sends prophets and apostles for the people's guide and example. Almighty God always was doing this. And he sends prophets and apostles for the people's guide and for their example. He says, and through them, his mystery was revealed. Through the apostle and the prophets, his mystery was revealed. Then he goes on to say, and those who follow the apostle will see the light.
Yes, sir.
Those who follow the apostle will see. It ain't say those who study the lessons
That's right.
will see the light.
That's right.
It ain't say those who learn how to memorize their lessons in a week will see the light.
That's right.
So you ain't gonna outsmart the God.
That's right.
All praise to Allah. You ain't gonna outsmart the God. These his lessons.
That's right.
This his wisdom. And he gave you instructions on how you gonna understand the wisdom. Because they don't, all of this stuff where you walk up to a brother and say, what's this lesson? And he's supposed to stand there and recite it to you. No, man, that's new school Islam. It's new school Islam. When you look at, I thank Allah for being able to have these Muhammad Speaks newspapers.
That's right.
Because if you look at the work that them brothers was doing in the day, all them papers brothers was selling, White and H&G, all these businesses and farmland, you think brothers walking up to other brothers just questioning them like that? You actually really think that? You actually really think, because in reality, the messenger already writing articles explaining the lessons. You know, so it's all the same. It ain't like this is something different from anything else. It's all the same. So all of this stuff that we think today, because we don't have the messenger no more, the messenger ain't here to keep it in line, we take them lessons and make people think that's something separate. That's the secret knowledge of the Nation of Islam. That's the secret knowledge, them lessons, you know. You know them lessons and you recite it, you know the secret knowledge of the Nation of Islam. No. It wasn't like that with the messenger.
That's right.
Because they telling you that the followers of the apostle, the ones who see the light. This is what Master Farad Muhammad said.
Right. That's right.
Giving the instruction to his wisdom. Saying, if you want to know my wisdom, you got to follow my message.
That's right.
All praise to Allah. That's the owner's manual.
That's right.
You can take these lessons out the temple and give them to a brother and have him recite all he wants to. Because the thing about the interpretation, because the messenger says that we Muslims, the black man is born a Muslim.
Right.
So the brothers who quoting all these lessons, they think that it's a difference between God and a Muslim. When the messenger say, and our saviors have arrived, say God is a Muslim. The messenger gives us examples in the Bible and Holy Quran where God submitted to Yaqub. He gave you examples with Jacob wrestling with the angel. Then he told us about Iblis, when the angel submitted to Adam, but Iblis didn't.
Right.
Showing us how the black man or the God submitted to Yaqub. Now we'll quote that lesson where it say who wrote Bible, Holy Quran, and all that. But when you show in the Bible and Holy Quran where it say that God submits, God is a Muslim.
That's right.
Oh, I ain't going for that. Because the messenger is responsible for the delivery of the message.
That's right.
And if you get the message from the wrong brother, that brother can ruin you.
That's right.
That's just the facts.
That's right.
Because the messenger said that anybody, let's go read what the messenger said, because this ain't me talking. This is what he said. Said, according to history, just like how Master Farad Muhammad said, he said the past history shows. So the messenger teaching them the lessons.
That's right.
He giving them the instruction and everything. He ain't doing nothing different. Same thing Master Farad Muhammad taught him, same thing he teaching us.
That's right.
He says, and according to history, the people who refuse to accept divine guidance or his message sent by his messengers are classified as uncivilized or savage. You got to not only accept the message. So everybody like the message. Because you can influence brothers with the message. But it's the guidance that brothers don't like.
That's right.
You don't like the guidance. You don't like all that shaving stuff. You don't like all that selling paper stuff. You don't like all that. So I ain't with that. But the message though. Because even if we look at the stuff that Muslims was doing, because Master Farad Muhammad said that The apostle is the people's guide and example. That's the responsibility that the messenger got. For us, he got to be our example.
That's right.
The purpose of us getting these lessons or whatever it is that we think about these lessons wasn't just for us to learn how to memorize. That's just for you to learn and get an understanding.
That's right.
But the purpose is for us to see the example through the message. You're supposed to see an example of a civilized man. You ain't just supposed to quote it. You think that's it? The people need to see an example of a civilized man.
Right.
See an example of a man teaching people civilization.
That's right.
That's what they need to see. Because the messenger in the restrictive law, we talk about words and lip service. We ain't with that. No words and lip service. So Master Farad Muhammad didn't raise no messenger to teach us how to use words and lip service. No. We're supposed to be an example of what we're talking about.
That's right.
And in the lessons, it talks about restrictive law when you talk about the civilized man. Because if the civilized man fails to perform his duty, he's supposed to be punished.
That's right. Yes, sir.
That's what the lessons say. We quoting them. Let's go to the lesson. What do it say? What's supposed to happen to the civilized man? It says if a civilized person does not perform his duty, which is teach civilization to others, they should be punished with a severe punishment. So, in the lesson, it's telling you if you don't do what you say you doing as a civilized person, you're supposed to be punished. Where the example of that? Like after I learned this lesson and I quoted and I memorized it, I quoted it. And I know I taught another brother to quote it. What happens to this brother if he break the rule? And he acting other than himself? He not civilized with people. What do we do to him? Say it's the law. Say the law of Islam. It's in the lesson. Say you're supposed to be punished by the Nation of Islam. That's what's supposed to happen.
That's right. Yes, sir.
What did the messenger have? For all those who broke the law. The restrictive law of Islam. Because he got to be the example of this. The people need to see an example. That's why God came. He came to raise a nation. To show us how to be a nation. Not for us to be with the words and lip service. We was doing that in the church. You know how to talk the talk in the church. Catch the Holy Ghost and all that. But then when we left church, we go smoke cigarettes. We go eat hog. We go do everything the Bible say we ain't supposed to do. So we was doing that already. But when Master Farad Muhammad came and raised up a messenger, he raised up a messenger to be an example and a guide to us. Not to just teach us with this words and lip service stuff. So it's saying the lessons that you're supposed to be punished by the Nation of Islam. And the messenger was the example of that. You break the law, you get time out the temple. You're being other than yourself. In the lessons it talk about how, about going out and getting the dead. It talk about that too. If I don't quote this lesson, how do I go out and get the dead? What's the example of that? The messenger had all that. All of that. Everything in these lessons, if you look at it. Even with like Yaqub. When Yaqub was talking about, if you give me what I need for 25 years, and I'll leave. The messenger. Give us what we need for 20 to 25 years. He was the example. It was the messenger. And it wasn't nobody else. Because we could show even speaks that came out years after them Pittsburgh Carriers. The messenger's still doing the same thing. This says, playing with steel. Black universal rise. What lesson is that? That comes from lesson number 2, question number 22. It says, how old was the founder? It says, when Yaqub was 6 years old while playing with 2 pieces of steel. So the messenger after time, he didn't just keep on naming everything the same thing. He come up and just say playing with steel. All praise to Allah. He been on the scene for 44 years, teaching the same thing. He gonna switch it up, like, okay, playing with steel is what I'm gonna name this one this time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna keep on naming it the same thing. That was the messenger. So we can't give credit to other people for what the messenger did. That's just what it is, because now we have these Muhammad Speaks newspapers. Now you can go online and actually get these Pittsburgh Carriers. So it ain't no excuse. It ain't no excuse. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no excuse no more to just go and believe what people are saying when they lying on the message. Because the messenger is the one. He the only one who get credit for Muslims. Because he was the one who showed us what a nation was.
That's right.
He was the one who was an example of a civilized man.
That's right.
And he made other civilized men.
That's right.
And that's what the lost found saw. And that's what attracted many of them to come to the Nation of Islam, by the messenger's example.
That's right.
Not because he was talking some talk. It was because of his example. And we always got to remember that. So, getting back to Genesis, when it says, when it's talking about the sons of God and the daughters of men, and how this always was telling us that we the aboriginal people. We didn't know it. Because of who? The messenger is why we know.
That's right.
So, it goes on to say, it says, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And it says, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. We read that and it go over our head. White man got, and that just shows how deaf, dumb, and blind the white man made us.
That's right.
He can give us the truth. He fix it up. He make us deaf, dumb, and blind. Then he give the preacher the book. Read this. He read it to us. We don't even know what it's talking about.
That's right.
He telling us right there. He said, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. It says, there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. So it's saying that the sons of God had children with these devils. Because the making of the white man is Genesis chapter 26. That's talking about the making of the white man.
That's right.
The devil.
Right.
So, praise due to Allah. So, the daughters of men, or the sons of God, had babies with the devil.
Right.
It is what it is. The truth is the truth. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Sons of God had babies with the devil.
Right.
So, it goes on to say, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination and of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Talking about the devil.
Right.
It ain't say the sons of God. It says, and God saw the wickedness of man. Because it's talking about how the sons of God had children with these devils.
Right.
And it even say that some of the men became renowned. Great leaders.
Right.
But then it says that God got sick of this devil, seeing all this evil he doing. Because it says, and every imagination of thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. That's the devil.
Right.
We know that's the devil.
Right.
Everything the devil touch is only evil. Even stuff he have that do us some good. Like a car. Cars do us real good. But cars destroy the environment. The food we eat, salmon is real good. But they talk about how the farm-raised salmon, how the devil feed it poison, which make that poison.
That's right.
So even the good stuff that's good, that the devil got a hold to. It says, and every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Let's saying this go on and on and on. Every thought.
Right.
Every thought of this devil.
Right.
So if he got some salmon, which is good, salmon is some good food for you to eat. When he see the salmon and you see the salmon, he see two different things going on. Two different thoughts. He thinking, how can I destroy this salmon?
Right.
You think about, man, I'm happy to get this salmon. I want to eat this good, healthy sandwich. It'll help me, you know, even with fruits and vegetables. But the devil's thoughts is different from our thoughts.
That's right.
He a devil. Every thought he has is evil. Even when he got something that doing you some good. Because cars and houses, all that do is good. I even was taking this class, learning how to be it was like a carpentry type class. He was telling us what causes mold. He was saying it's not so much that material get wet, because wood get wet outside, like a tree would. Right. He was like the materials that is made of, the chemicals that's in it, once that get wet and sit, that's what causes all of that black mold and all that stuff.
Okay.
Because wood and all of that stuff is cool, but it's the materials and the chemicals that they put in it.
Right.
I was even watching something about hardwood floors. I was like, and I just caught this on the TV. I was flipping the channels and I saw something. I think it was on Dateline. I usually watch Dateline if I see something on it. They were talking about hardwood floors, how the little shiny stuff on the floor causes cancer. And they were suing the hardwood floor people because they knew that. All these years you get hardwood floor, nice shiny floor, well, who would think? The devil would think different from us. And he know we think different from us. So we looking at it like, I just want some hardwood floors. That's all I want. I just want some salmon. I just want a car, to get me from point A to point B, and he know that. So he poisoned the food, even the good food, even the stuff that say organic. He changed the definition for organic. You think organic mean one thing, but when he's saying organic, his thoughts different from yours. So he say he know what you gonna think when you see organic and when you see natural. You gonna think that's good. He know we gonna think that. So that's why he put it on there. But then his definition for natural and organic is different from what you thinking. Because his thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Then we have, all praise is due to Allah. It has, and it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Now this right here start that Noah stuff. All these Hebrew Israelites and all these cats. Because I get sick of them listening to what they say about the master. Like, I ain't got nothing against no black man. Nothing against you. You a black man, you my brother. I ain't got no beef with you. But when you hear what people say about the master, that's when it's like what's up with that, man? When you copying from the messenger. The people who copy from the messenger say the worst about it. That's the thing I noticed over the years. The people who take the most of the messenger teaching are the ones who talk the worst about it. And but they try to, the sneak dissing thing, just like with this national representative. I remember the first time I saw that what really happened stuff. I was in the Navy, and I saw that thing where he had the so-called wives of the messenger come up on stage. I didn't know a lot about the messenger at that time, but I was investigating. When I saw him bring these women on stage, that kind of like affected me because I looked at I didn't know him, but I knew about Malcolm X. I saw the Nation of Islam, and I felt like he a pretty respectable guy that had these hardcore brothers. They was clean, militant. But when he showed this what really happened stuff and showing like the messenger had some little sneaky secret he was trying to keep, I kind of made me feel like that's what it seemed like to me. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like he trying to say, the messenger say something in public, but, he got something else going on behind the scenes. And that kind of, because the thing that I say about being a lost found and then you coming to the nation, you develop a love for the messenger when you, all praise due to Allah, telling you. We think that the lost found don't know nothing. No. I knew a lot before I saw a Muslim. Keep it real. I was doing a lot of research. I was doing a lot of studying. And then I asked somebody, where a temple at? And the brother told me that the brother was selling papers when I was in Atlanta. He told me where the brother's selling papers at. And I went to him like, yo, where y'all temple at? But before that, I was doing a lot of research and study. And I developed a kind of love for the messenger. The stuff he was doing, the little stuff that I knew. But these hypocrites, these people who really hate the messenger. But they try to act like, oh, I just want to tell you what really happened. Because in that lecture, he talked against Malcolm X. He was doing the whole thing and make it seem like he trying to represent the messenger and represent the truth. But when you get these Muhammad Speaks newspaper and see what the messenger said about them women, then you look at him. Like you was there in your articles too. Like what you was saying. Now you would get up in front of all these people and say that the messenger had wives when he said he didn't. And I really could see why brothers, because when you look at the history of the messenger had to calm brothers down a lot and tell them chill out. Real, because Muslims used to get mad at how people used to try to disrespect the messenger. And at first when I wasn't a Muslim, I didn't understand that because I met a Muslim one time. He was like that. He was like, I know we was talking about Malcolm X, and I was like, man, Malcolm X was the man. He just, what you mean? Like he was talking to get the messenger. And I'm like, man, brother, chill out. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at the history of the messenger, he used to have to tell brothers, you know, if I'm not getting all upset,
That's right.
you shouldn't get upset.
That's right. That's right.
He said, we got to tolerate these people. We can't just destroy them.
Yeah.
But I can understand. I'm not going to act like I can't see what the brothers... I can understand when you hear a person talking about the messenger, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
All the good he did for black people, and you talking about him, or you uplifting somebody else that ain't doing nothing.
That's right.
A person who done took the messenger's teachings and ain't do nothing with them.
That's right.
All that truth they had, ain't do nothing with them. Show us something that he did then. They can't show you nothing. But they praising this person. Praising them for their little group, and it's a shame that you can have thousands of people following you and you still ain't got nothing.
Right. That's right.
You've been here for 40 years with the messenger's teachings, you still ain't got nothing.
Right.
That's a shame.
It is.
All these Muslims who using the messenger teachers who's supposed to be these apostles and these messengers and these messiahs, where your progress section at?
That's right. That's right.
Why you ain't got none of that, all this truth you got?
That's right.
All these million men you've been talking to. You mean tell me you ain't got nothing?
Right. Yes, sir.
We can't go to Detroit and see some spot you got with businesses being an example. Because it says that the messenger is responsible for the delivery of the messenger, not you.
That's right. That's
And it shows when you see these brothers. They had a messenger's teaching. Can't do nothing with it. All praise to Allah. Because if you look at the messenger, because they try to always act like the messenger taught them something different behind the scenes. Look at the laborers meeting. That was a behind the scenes meeting where the messenger only had his ministers and his captains.
right.
What did the messenger say in that laborers meeting that he wouldn't say in the public? Nothing.
That's right.
He ain't say nothing out of line, nothing out of order, nothing out like, yo, what I want y'all to do. None of that.
That's right.
When you look at them table talks,
Uh-huh.
that was the messenger talking behind the scenes
That's right.
at his dinner table. What he was saying to any of them people that he wouldn't say in the public? Nothing.
Right.
These brothers with these lessons. What you found in the message to the black man that you don't find in them lessons? Nothing.
Right.
Messenger wasn't, he was saying, I'm the messenger of Allah to you all.
That's right.
He was saying. He wasn't saying I got no special selected few. Because every time they asked the messenger about a successor, he said ain't going to be no successor.
That's right.
I'm here to teach them.
Yes, sir.
After I teach them, they got it.
That's right.
Then Savior's Day 1974, he let you know. I done taught you all you need to know.
That's right.
So if you accept another person, you the fool.
That's right.
All praise due to Allah. What else can another man teach you? That's what he said.
That's right.
What else can another man teach you? After he done taught you to civilize a black man who out there in hell. And you see how his teachings done civilized the black man.
right.
What's some other person gonna tell you about civilizing a black man? Tell you nothing.
That's right.
When you see the brotherhood of the FOI and the MGT in the messenger time,
Yes, sir.
and you see a true brotherhood, what's somebody else gonna tell you about a brotherhood?
That's right. That's right.
Even if we only got 2 people
That's right.
in our heart,
Yes, sir.
I hope one day we get 1,000. But if we only got 2 who follow them, that's good enough for me. Praise due to Allah. I hope one day we get all these businesses and farms, but if we don't never get it where I live, this good enough for me.
All right.
Praise due to Allah. I look at them hypocrites and keep on going. They don't faze me at all. They used to. I ain't gonna lie. When you first come in, you want all them numbers. You want all them brothers and stuff. I ain't gonna lie, you do. But after you see what them hypocrites doing to the messenger, when you see the truth of the messenger, what he said about them women, and you see all these brothers that stand up and let this brother talk about the messenger, like, I don't want to be with them brothers.
That's right. That's right.
I want to be with some brothers that's going to come on stage like, wait a minute, man, what you talking about? Them the type of brother, the brother that you got, hey, come, no, man, we can't do. That's the type of brother I want to be with. Praise be to Allah. I want to be with no brother, you know the messenger said these ain't his wives and these women he ain't had nothing to do with, and you let another brother talk about the messenger like
Yes,
that.
sir. That's right.
Got 1,000 FOI in there. No, I don't want to be with them brothers. Sir, I'd rather be with the 2
That's right.
who believe in the messenger.
That's right.
We want to let that be known to all these brothers who be listening to us. If you ain't with the messenger, don't waste our time. Praise be to Allah. We all right. We fine. We don't need nobody.
Yes, sir.
We just want followers of the messenger.
That's right.
Telling you. Because once I became a Muslim and I read the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, I went back and watched that what really happened. Looking at all these Muslims. Like ain't one brother say, man, come on, man. Man, that messenger ain't say that.
Right.
All this stuff this brother be saying. All these FOI. All these martial arts brothers. Man, tell me this brother can say all this stuff he's saying about the messenger. This brother, I seen him one time talking about And it's another thing the messenger used to say about these ministers and their subjects. He used to put in the Muhammad Speaks warning to captains, ministers, and secretaries. Because he didn't like the subjects brothers was using. Just because you a minister of the message don't mean you can speak on any subject. So this brother, this national representative, he got this subject talking about did Master Farad Muhammad pray? Just like they got that subject talking about is it possible Honorable Elijah Muhammad could be alive?
Right.
That's just like the devil in the Bible where it talk about evil suggestions. That's what the devil do.
That's right.
What you mean is it possible? No, it's not possible.
Right.
You know it ain't possible.
Right.
No, Master Farad Muhammad ain't prayed to nobody. No, he didn't. You don't know. He is self-independent.
Right.
Who he gonna pray to? You a Muslim, you supposed to know that. That's why I say the follower of the messenger will see the light.
Yes, sir.
I ain't never saw the message. No brother gonna tell me that God pray to nobody. Praise be to Allah. The messenger said his name's self-independent. He only ain't got one of the 99. We get the 99. His name is self-independent. Who we praying to? But you got all these brothers passing that stuff out. Talking about the God, not only the messenger, but the God now. Talking about you don't pray to the God. Talking about you pray to this originator, this spook. The messenger said God always been a man. The one who was here before don't exist.
Right.
Don't no other God nowhere exists but Master Farad Muhammad. He all praise due to Allah. So who he gonna pray to? What originator? The black man is the originator.
Right.
The messenger say that God lives on through his people, not through no spirit. He lives on through his people. So the God that's here on scene is the God. Ain't nobody to pray to. That's spooky. Tell you that God pray. That's why they want to go with them Sunnis. Trying to get them brothers to believe that Sunni stuff with that Master Farad Muhammad pray, so we can go to Juma and pray with them. We praying to the originator like them. You know, God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. That in the person, that spook stuff. Like it was some spooky in Master Farad Muhammad's flesh was God. His blood, his bones, his hair, all that was God. Because God is a man.
That's right.
All that spooky stuff. No, ain't no spook. God is real.
That's right.
That's why the messenger said those who follow the message will see the light.
Yes, sir.
Care nothing about how many of y'all it is. If you ain't following the message, you ain't seeing the light.
That's right.
So this brother can get up here and ask you a question talking about does Master Farad Muhammad pray, and you can be there sitting with this brother and you can't see you're a hypocrite. Allah is the one who gave us this wisdom.
That's right.
He gave us instructions on how to understand this wisdom. He ain't say nothing about just because you wear a FOI uniform, you gonna see the light.
That's right.
Just because you following these hypocrites and they got this star power with this Hollywood stuff, you gonna see the light.
Right.
He said the followers of the apostle will see the light.
That's right.
All praise due to Allah. And you can see what these hypocrites tell these people, they ain't got no light. In the Bible, which the messengers say the poison book,
Right.
it say that the devil's every thought was evil.
Yes, sir.
Every thought. This is what the messenger taught us. So how is somebody going to tell you about Aaron Hubbard?
Right.
Every thought. How's somebody going to tell you about Father Flager? Every thought.
Right.
No, Father Flager, he a devil too.
That's right.
What he going to tell you about a righteous Jew? The messenger said every thought.
That's right,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Every thought. So if you following the message, you know what the messenger said. Some brother come up here and tell you something about some Father Flager. Like, ain't he a devil, brother?
Right. Right.
Followers of the messenger just ain't gonna go like, brother, come on, man. I ain't gonna go for that. The messenger done already told us the white man's devil.
That's right.
That's in our favor.
That's right.
He told us how to protect ourselves against this devil.
That's right.
Leave him alone. That's what he said. Separation.
Right.
All praise due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Now you about to tell me about this devil, Father Flager. And then if that ain't enough, because I accept Father Flager because I like you. Now you got some dead devil that made some spooky stuff that was around when the messenger was around.
Right.
Messenger ain't never say nothing about that. But this brother gonna tell you, you gotta go and do that to be able to be anything in his little camp. And you go for that. No. Followers of the messenger see the light.
That's right.
That's the greatest teaching that we ever could hear. The followers of the messenger will see the light.
That's right. Yes,
All
sir.
praise due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Because it don't make a difference about all these numbers. It don't make a difference about what you know. Because a lot of these brothers who hypocrites today, they used to be stars with the message.
That's right. That's right.
When you listen to what these brothers used to say,
Yes, sir.
you would be surprised, like Father Flager. The stuff Muslims used to say about white people, and
Yes, yes.
you could hug this devil in front of everybody. In front of everybody, just hug the devil like, oh, he my. And then you would be surprised how many lost founds come up to you. You selling papers asking you about this stuff.
That's right.
We don't like talking about him. But you got to clear it up.
That's right. Yes.
There's a lot of lost founds. When he be coming.
Yes, sir.
When he come into town, them brothers come say, when the minister coming? You know, the minister. Ain't no the minister. When the minister come. Now you got to be, because I try not to say nothing like, I don't know, brother, but you know, I try to get around. But sometimes they be like, no, man, but I know you should know. And you got to say something now. But you don't want to say nothing. I don't be bringing them up. We don't never bring them up. But the people, sometimes you got to say something. You try to, well, you know, look, read the back of this the messenger and all that. But they want to know the minister. You got to tell them we don't follow him, brother.
That's right. That's right.
Man, we don't follow him. You know, you pushed me to it. I wasn't trying to say nothing about the brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you forcing me to say it. Even with these other brothers, with these lessons, you don't want to say nothing about them. But did you listen to what they be saying about the message?
That's right. Yes, sir.
It's like, come on, brother. We ain't disrespecting you. We don't say nothing about you. But when these brothers talk about Master Farad Muhammad, they say Farad.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, yeah.
His wisdom. That's why the message say, when you get this wisdom, you can get proud. Now you wiser than the God. Calling them Farad. Like, I'm like, wow. How you call him Farad? Like, you can't call him Master Farad Muhammad. Show him some respect.
That's right.
But they quick to say you disrespecting them. Quick to say you disrespecting them. But if they say Farad, we supposed to just like that. Then you got the followers of this big eye. They be embracing these brothers. The stuff they be saying about Master. No. We respect you. Just like we respect the devil. If you don't like Master Farad Muhammad, separation.
That's right.
We ain't trying to be all palsy-wowsy and buddy-buddy with these brothers who talk about the messenger like that. No.
That's right.
Get the messenger's teachings and then talk about he didn't give it to, so we can say, if it wasn't for us. No, if it wasn't for us. No. Stay over there.
That's right. That's right.
We ain't got no problem with you. You are a black brother like anybody else, but we ain't with that, man.
Right.
We try not to say, oh, praise due to Allah. We try not to say nothing about these brothers, but these brothers be coming out with video after video talking about how the messenger ain't give us his teachings, but somebody else did. And we supposed to praise him for doing what the messenger was already doing.
Right.
No. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I'll leave you as I came in the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path. Path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors. Not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down. Nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is to be served, worship, to praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.
Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Kareem Bean Pie is also available at Great Canadian Fish, Chicken, and Seafood, 7601 East 7 Mile Road. Another place you'll find Kareem Bean Pie is Davidson Fresh Fish Market, 1520 East 7 Mile Road.
FM 88.1 WHPR, Highland Park.